for you, I'm looking for you. I got what you want.
I got what you want.
Got what you need. I need all around. I sit up here and there, everywhere. And he don't call me and he. Baby, I'm like, I got what you want.
Do you?
Got what you need.
Everything you've ever believed about the music industry, the secret deals, the unstoppable star-making machines, and the fairy tale success stories, is about to be challenged right now. If you've clicked on this video expecting the usual shallow gossip, brace yourself, because we're diving into the unfiltered truth. This is not just another celebrity meltdown headline. This is a jaw-dropping saga of how a star who seemed destined for unbreakable fame nearly lost it all. We've uncovered the receipts, the contracts, financial statements, and hidden correspondences, exposing a system powered by greed, influence, and a few pen strokes on dotted lines. And guess what? By the end of this, you'll see how Nicole Wray's journey from church choir standout to chart-topping sensation was nearly derailed by an empire that cared more about dollar signs than artistic vision. Ready to find out exactly who pulled the strings, where the money disappeared, and how an entire brand crumbled? Stick around, because the proof is undeniable, the tension is real, and the fallout is nothing short of explosive. Welcome, everyone, to our deep dive into the astonishing rise and turbulent fall of Nicole Wray, a story that's about so much more than one artist's heartbreak. If you're someone who's ever wondered about the dark underbelly of the music scene, you've come to the right place. In an industry dominated by smoke and mirrors, Nicole's life has become a magnifying glass, revealing the cracks in a system that promises the world but can't deliver it without taking a piece of your soul. This isn't just entertainment gossip. It's a comprehensive look at contracts, power plays, and resilience under pressure. Before we continue, let me make one thing clear. Everything we're about to dissect is supported by actual documentation, court filings, official financial records, and verifiable statements. We're talking about no-nonsense facts. We're talking heartbreak and triumph, hidden agendas and shocking alliances. And above all, we're talking about how one woman refused to be silenced, even when towering corporate giants tried to erase her name from the headlines. This is your front row seat to the unmasking of a machine fueled by money, power, and influence. Let's rewind to where it all began, Portsmouth, Virginia. In a community known for its grit and resilience, Nicole Wray grew up singing in church choirs, long before stage lights and brand deals entered the picture. Family acquaintances still recall her belting out solos that made everyone sit up a little straighter in their pews. She'd stay up late, practicing runs and harmonies, often going hoarse as she tried to match the vocal giants she admired on the radio. Local competitions. Early in her teens, Nicole entered local singing competitions. Public records from small-town papers highlight her sweeping victory in multiple events, putting her on the radar of regional talent scouts. Community backing. Neighbors pooled funds for her travel expenses so she could attend showcases in bigger cities. It was a communal effort to propel her to stardom. Everyone wanted to see the hometown girl succeed. By the time she was in her late teens, she'd already caught the eye of a well-connected manager. According to preliminary contracts recently unsealed, label reps believed she was the whole package. A powerhouse voice, a compelling story, and the charm to captivate millions. This wasn't just luck. It was the result of countless hours of vocal training, hustle, and unshakable determination. Yet, as the saying goes, talent can open doors, but it can also attract opportunists who see artists as mere commodities. Once Nicole got that proverbial foot in the door, her career trajectory skyrocketed. Picture the classic montage: studio sessions, glossy photo shoots, and behind-the-scenes glimpses of her hitting high notes with star producers. Major labels circled like hawks, each offering lucrative advances aimed at monopolizing her future. Financial data from that era reveals staggering sums promised to secure her exclusive signature, money that would make most young artists' heads spin. For a moment, everything looked like it was falling into place. Big collaborations, contracts guaranteed A-list artists would feature on her singles. A rumored duet was in the works with one of the decade's biggest pop icons, a detail quietly buried once the meltdown began. Tour projections. Internal memos from label executives talked about multi-city tours that could catapult her into a household name, complete with high-profile sponsorships from global brands. Merchandising plans. Nicole's face was set to grace everything from apparel to cosmetics. The label believed they could build an entire empire around her image, marketing her as the next unstoppable force in R&B. In interviews from that period, some of which have now resurfaced, Nicole appeared exhilarated yet grounded. She spoke passionately about staying true to her roots, crafting songs that spoke to her struggles and dreams. But the bigger the brand around her became, the more she felt the pressure to adapt to a specific mold. One insider quote from a marketing executive stated, "She's the golden goose. We'll shape her however we need to." Chilling words that foreshadowed what was to come. Behind the glitz was a ticking time bomb. Verified audits show that budget allocations were mysteriously mismanaged. Invoices for music videos ballooned far beyond their actual costs, and certain line items for promotional campaigns never actually materialized. The deeper Nicole looked, the more questions she had. But each time she tried to dig for answers, she was met with condescending pats on the back or outright dismissal. Money misdirection. Production budgets for her singles soared to suspiciously high amounts. Yet, the final products didn't reflect that kind of lavish spending. So where did the money go? Broken communication. Emails were either ignored or delayed. A few months before her second album was initially slated for release, her requests for transparency were labeled disruptive. That label alone would come back to haunt her. The most heartbreaking part? Some of the very people Nicole considered mentors were among the silent bystanders. They either lacked the power to intervene or chose to look the other way for fear of jeopardizing their own positions. A former label assistant, who spoke under condition of anonymity, revealed that employees had been explicitly instructed to keep Nicole uninformed about key financial decisions. The word pawns was thrown around a lot, suggesting that nobody high up truly viewed her as a person. She was an asset on a balance sheet, and the moment she voiced concerns, she became a problem to manage, not a human to protect. As soon as Nicole tried to negotiate more creative control, she faced a coordinated pushback unlike anything she'd ever experienced. Buried clauses in her contracts gave executives final say on what she could or couldn't release. This is a common trick in the music industry. Artists sign away their freedom in exchange for major deals, often not realizing how restrictive the terms truly are until it's too late. Clause chaos. Some paragraphs effectively barred Nicole from collaborating with outside producers without explicit written permission. This blocked her from exploring fresh sounds that didn't align with the label's carefully curated image. Lockdown tactics. Nicole's attempts to record independent tracks were met with immediate legal threats. They threatened to shelve any music made outside the official pipeline, ensuring they had exclusive control over her public output. Imagine working your entire life to master your craft, only to have someone else hold the keys to whether you can sing, release, or perform a single note. It's a soul-crushing reality for many artists, and Nicole was no exception. She fought back where she could, but each step forward triggered a legal or financial obstacle orchestrated by those who saw her more as a commodity than a collaborator. The meltdown became inevitable when Nicole discovered the extent of the budget discrepancies. Cross-referencing official financial statements with her own accounting, she noticed missing funds that were supposedly earmarked for her marketing campaigns. With zero support from higher-ups, she was forced to hire her own independent auditors just to prove something was amiss. Brand deals fizzle. Remember all those major corporate partnerships that were supposed to elevate her brand? Most of them never saw the light of day. The official reason? Contractual disagreements. The real reason, according to a leak from someone in the finance department, was the label's inability or unwillingness to produce transparent accounts. Tour cancellations. A multi-city tour that had been announced with fanfare vanished without explanation. Ticket pre-sales were halted. Venues were quietly released from their hold dates. This not only embarrassed Nicole, but also financially set her back, as she had invested personally in rehearsals and staging. Her second album fared no better. Songs that critics believed had chart-topping potential were shelved. Meanwhile, the label funneled its promotional energies into other artists, perhaps those who didn't question their contract terms as rigorously as Nicole did. The entire brand felt like it was pivoting away from her, as if the empire was picking a new face to champion overnight. The tipping point was Nicole's decision to file a legal motion to sever ties with the label. In her court documents, she cited financial mismanagement, breach of contract, and unethical business practices. As soon as those papers were filed, the label unleashed a counterattack. They accused her of being uncooperative and unreliable. But once Nicole's lawyers responded, it became clear who was really at fault. The evidence was overwhelming. Court transcripts reveal intimidation tactics. Executives threatened to bury Nicole in legal fees. They tried to intimidate her legal team, demanding closed-door negotiations and gag orders. Damaging email trails. Internal communications showed certain executives discussing ways to manage Nicole by limiting her studio time and deflecting her inquiries. Financial shenanigans. Auditors testified that funds allocated for Nicole's promotions had been diverted to other projects, or worse, never spent on her at all. As the case gained traction, the public got wind of the fiasco. Some fans rallied behind Nicole, organizing social media campaigns with hashtags calling for industry accountability. The label scrambled to control the narrative, but once the story was out, it was impossible to contain. Investors started asking tough questions. After all, their money was on the line. They discovered that the brand's glossy image hid a labyrinth of questionable bookkeeping and broken promises. Like a row of dominoes, the empire's defenses toppled under the weight of truth. High-level executives resigned, or were quietly shown the door. Shareholders demanded comprehensive audits, and some of the brand's biggest partner companies withdrew their support to distance themselves from the mounting scandals. The meltdown was no longer just about Nicole Wray. It was about a corporate machine that, once revered for churning out hits, was now exposed as an untrustworthy entity. Emails turned over during discovery painted a portrait of a deeply dysfunctional culture. One executive wrote, "If we lose Nicole, we lose our golden goose. We have to keep her locked in or risk plummeting stock prices." This echoed the label's entire approach: treat the artist as property. Yet ironically, their refusal to treat Nicole as a person with legitimate concerns catalyzed their downfall. Meanwhile, Nicole's name was dragged through the mud, but she refused to stay silent. She showed up in court, gave interviews that towed the line of her contractual gag orders, and refused to settle for hush money. It wasn't just about personal vindication anymore. It was about exposing a system that had done the same to countless other artists, many of whom never had the means or courage to fight back. While the legal battle raged, Nicole found herself at a crossroads. She could have walked away from music entirely, disillusioned and defeated. In fact, personal diaries from that time, entries that Nicole later allowed to be shared in a documentary, show her teetering on the edge. She'd questioned whether the industry was worth the struggle. But a pivotal moment arrived when she discovered a set of older, unreleased recordings. She referred to these as the lost tapes, hidden away in label vaults. They captured her raw talent, free from the corporate constraints that would later stifle her creativity. Realizing that a legal victory could help her reclaim these tracks, she decided to push forward with the lawsuit. She refused to let those who misused her talent walk away with her artistic legacy. In a twist that felt almost cinematic, Nicole received unexpected support from a major fashion mogul who believed in her fight. The mogul quietly funneled funds to help cover her escalating legal fees, stating in a private note that they couldn't stand to see another artist get crushed by corporate greed. This was more than just money. It was a vote of confidence that re-energized Nicole's resolve. Emotional toll. Friends close to Nicole have described her mental state as a roller coaster. One day hopeful, the next defeated. The stress manifested in panic attacks and bouts of insomnia. Support system. Fan communities began rallying around her, organizing online listening parties for her existing music, reminding the world that her voice was more than a corporate product. In depositions, the label tried to paint her as overly emotional and difficult to work with. Nicole's attorneys shot back with evidence of continuous disregard for her artistic input, revealing that she'd never been the loose cannon the media had been led to believe. If anything, she was the only one striving to maintain a semblance of integrity in an increasingly toxic environment. Eventually, the judge presiding over the case made a significant ruling. The label was found to have breached multiple clauses within Nicole's contract, particularly those related to financial transparency and creative autonomy. The court ordered them to relinquish certain rights, effectively freeing Nicole to sign new deals and take control of her future releases. It was a monumental moment that set a precedent. An artist could stand up to a giant and win. The corporate empire took a devastating blow. Multiple lawsuits sprang up as a result of the revelations from Nicole's case. Other artists stepped forward, emboldened by her victory. Some demanded audits. Others sought to dissolve their contracts altogether. The meltdown was complete, and the label's once pristine reputation was now marred by scandal. With her legal battles largely behind her, Nicole set out to rebuild her career on her own terms. She signed with smaller, more artist-focused labels and began reintroducing herself to the public. The lost tapes found new life, generating buzz among fans and critics who were eager to hear the raw, unfiltered version of her artistry. New collaborations. Free from restrictive clauses, she tapped into new creative partnerships. Some big-name producers who'd previously been kept at bay by her old label jumped at the chance to work with her. Transparency as a priority. In a public statement, Nicole committed to being an advocate for transparency in the music industry. She vowed to consult legal experts before signing anything and urged up-and-coming artists to do the same. Her comeback concerts carried an undercurrent of triumph. Attendees reported that the energy was electric, almost cathartic, with Nicole openly addressing the hardships she'd faced and the gratitude she felt for those who stuck by her. Where she'd once been obliged to stick to a corporate-approved script, she now spoke freely about her experiences, turning her personal battles into a source of empowerment. The meltdown didn't just change Nicole's life. It forced the industry to take a long, hard look at itself. Shareholders demanded greater transparency in financial dealings. Contracts came under renewed scrutiny, with legal experts warning that outdated 360 deals or exploitative contract terms wouldn't stand up if legally challenged. Influencers and fans used social media to keep the conversation alive, tagging labels and executives to demand accountability. If one success story emerged from the chaos, it was the realization that artists need stronger legal and financial guidance from day one. Nicole's ordeal has become a cautionary tale, taught in some music business courses as an example of how not to handle an artist relationship. The meltdown served as a wake-up call. Money, power, and influence can build an empire quickly, but once the foundation is exposed as hollow, the collapse is inevitable. Now, let's talk about the bright side of this roller coaster. Nicole's fresh start. She's been pouring her experiences into new music that resonates with emotional authenticity. Tracks rumored to be on her upcoming album reference her legal fights, betrayals, and eventual liberation. There's also a track about rediscovering one's self-worth in the midst of turmoil, a message that countless fans say they desperately needed to hear. Her social media channels are more active than ever, filled with studio snippets, behind-the-scenes glimpses, and heartfelt conversations. Instead of slick, curated marketing fluff, she offers raw honesty and open dialogue with followers. It's a strategy that resonates in an era where fans crave authenticity. This approach also dovetails with SEO best practices, as her content is heavily shared, commented on, and linked by music blogs, further amplifying her online presence. So you might be thinking, is Nicole Wray poised to become bigger than ever? The short answer is quite possibly. She's proven that she can weather a storm that would break many artists. She's also gained a wealth of industry knowledge that will help her navigate future deals with caution. By refusing to be silenced, she's carved out a new lane, one that might be smaller in scale initially, but infinitely more secure. Potential record deals. Several artist-focused labels are rumored to be courting her for partnerships that give her majority control over her masters, a radical shift from her previous arrangement. Side projects. Whispers suggest she's exploring film scoring and even launching a mentorship program for young artists, sharing the pitfalls of major label contracts and the importance of legal literacy. Brand endorsements. Even though her meltdown cost her initial brand deals, new opportunities are emerging from companies that value authenticity over glitz. She's said to be in talks with a major tech brand for a campaign celebrating independent creators. Let's not forget, Nicole's story may have found a resolution, but the machinery that threatened to derail her career is still alive in corners of the industry. Countless artists remain stuck in exploitative contracts, too afraid to speak out or lacking the resources to fight back. Nicole's case is a milestone, yes, but it's also a reminder that vigilance is necessary. The meltdown underscores how quickly fortunes can shift when unchecked ambition meets an artist who refuses to bend. This begs the question, can the music world genuinely change, or will this cycle repeat itself? The hope is that Nicole's fight paves the way for more transparency, more accountability, and more artists who know their worth. If corporations realize they can't hide behind complex legalese and flashy illusions forever, the next generation of singers, songwriters, and producers might find a fairer path. For now, we can celebrate that Nicole Wray is forging her own destiny, telling her story, and reminding us all that real talent and real courage can sometimes topple the mightiest empires. If you've made it this far, I want to thank you for sticking with me through the twists and turns of Nicole Wray's riveting saga. The meltdown was real, the corporate maneuvering was intense, and the fight for creative freedom continues. Now it's your turn to chime in. What do you think about Nicole's journey? Do you believe this story will spark lasting change in the music industry? Drop a comment below with your thoughts, theories, or even your personal experiences if you've faced a similar uphill battle. Let's keep the conversation going, because the more we shed light on these hidden aspects, the harder it is for them to stay hidden. If you found this video enlightening, please hit that like button and share it with fellow music lovers or aspiring artists who deserve to know the truths behind the headlines. And if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel for more in-depth investigations into the music world's most compelling stories. We'll be tracking Nicole's next moves closely, including rumored new releases that promise to capture her raw, unfiltered voice. Stay tuned, because the story doesn't end here. As Nicole Wray rebuilds her empire on her own terms, she's also tearing down the walls that once confined her. Until next time, remember, money, power, and influence can build an empire, but authenticity is what keeps it standing. Nicole Wray's meltdown proved just that. Now let's see how she and the industry rise from the rubble. For those of you wanting that extra layer of insight, here are a few lesser-known facts. Secret album sessions. During her legal battles, Nicole reportedly recorded an entire album in a makeshift home studio. According to her close friends, the music is raw and experimental, capturing her emotional landscape at the height of her turmoil. Underground films. In a creative attempt to bypass contract gag orders, Nicole funded short indie films that mirrored her experiences in metaphorical form. Though the label tried to block their release, a judge ruled in her favor. The fashion mogul's identity. Rumor has it that the mogul who supported Nicole's legal fees is a household name in the luxury fashion world. But so far, no one has publicly confirmed their identity. Some fans speculate it was a philanthropic move to highlight systemic injustices. Mentorship program. Nicole is said to be launching a new mentorship initiative aimed at equipping young artists with basic contract literacy and financial planning tips. She's been vocal about how a lack of knowledge nearly ended her career prematurely. These extra tidbits illustrate that Nicole's story is still unfolding in real time. If you've been inspired or shocked, or maybe a bit of both, by everything you've heard today, let this be a reminder. The narrative you see on stage or social media is just one part of an intricate puzzle. The more we shine a light on these backroom dealings, the harder it becomes for any machine to operate on deception alone. Thank you for being part of this extended deep dive. We've uncovered how an artist can go from being the industry's golden goose to a defiant phoenix rising from the ashes. It's a testament to human will and a glaring indictment of a system that often values profit margins over genuine artistry. As Nicole Wray reclaims her voice, perhaps the question we should all be asking is, who's next? Which other artists are teetering on the edge, waiting for a chance to break free? Let's hope that Nicole's victory inspires them to step forward. Until our next exploration, keep your eyes open and your ears tuned to the stories that matter. Because sometimes it's the whispers that carry the loudest truths.